Will Bruin once again. And can this be the start of something?
Will Bruin does his score goal.
Will Bruin got it! Will Bruin gets the leveler! Clinical finish for Bruin!
Welcome back to another episode. It's been a year and a half in the making. Bear with us with Will Bruin. How you doing, Will?
I'm good. I can't even remember the last time we had an episode, so it's nice to be back on here with you.
I know. Emily was telling us that she thinks the last time we recorded was we were getting ready to do YachtCon 2020, and we were at Hales.
Yeah, Homecoming.
Homecoming. YachtCon Homecoming.
Yeah. Now we have our own version of Homecoming this year.
Right, exactly.
Long off season.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time, like probably 15 months at least in the making, 16 months in the making, something like that. So, Will, I'm very excited to be bringing us back out of this. What have you been up to for the last year and a half?
Just, hibernating, just hidden away inside, staying safe. It's crazy. Like you say, it's been 15, 16 months. It seems like so long, but at the same time, it really doesn't seem that long. I don't know if I'm crazy for saying that, but well,
you've been traveling all this time.
Yeah, we had just on a lot of planes, and no, just kidding. But yeah, it's been a long time. Glad, hopefully, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, so we can be able to be getting out there and seeing the fans at the stadium. So it's nice to be doing it again. All
right, so without getting too cheesy, the first time you go out onto so you guys have had fans in the stands all season. It's a smaller than normal crowd, but the first time you went out there and you actually heard real fans cheering, that had to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. You take it for granted pre-pandemic. You take a full stadium for granted. You're like, oh, fans fair, this is great atmosphere. And then all of a sudden, one season, they're just all gone and you're playing in front of an empty stadium and it just feels like training games. The intensity is just not quite the same. And then you start getting a small percentage of fans in there. Intensity ticks up. And then, hopefully down the road, we'll have full stadiums. But no, it's been great. Except I will say you can hear more specific fans, whether that's home or on the road, So it's good and bad.
That could be, yeah.
So what was that? Was that like in Portland? Were you actually able to hear the heckles?
A little bit, but not too much. I kind of blocked it out. But I'm just saying, in general, you can hear more specific things that you wouldn't really hear with a bigger crowd.
Will really isn't getting on the ball as much as I would have thought he was.
I did hear it. I did hear when I took that big hit and flipped around at the LAFC game the other night. I was walking off, getting ready to come in. I heard somebody go, "Will, you're a goal scorer. Score a goal." I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to score a goal." But I don't think he meant it that bad. I think it was more like, "Get back out there. You're fine." But that's what I'm talking about when I say you hear more specific things. Yes. I kind of just chuckled in my head. I was like, he's got a good point. I do need to score some goals.
So you bring up that's a good transition. You got your first. You'd been playing pretty well. I want to say you've had 2 assists. Mm-hmm. You've been a playmaker. You had not taken a single shot up until this last game.
No, I was actually talking to Christian Saturday before the game at training. I was like, no matter what, I don't care how the game goes, I'm getting some shots off. Like, I'm done with this. I need to get back in front of goal, get some looks at goal, and then we'll go from there. The goals will start coming.
And so your first shot, which I don't know, it sounds like maybe you don't consider it your first shot, but your first shot ends up being a header that you had a good look at, but you took a lot of punishment to get that one.
So right when I jump, so I'm going near post and the ball doesn't come in. So then I fade back to back post. Right when I jump, I just feel blessing dive into my heels and I start to flip backwards. So I'm like, this header is not going to be good. And then just don't kill yourself on the fall. So landed straight on the tailbone. But to answer your question, I do not consider header shots. I consider, me specifically, technically, I guess you say it's a shot on goal, the stat, even though it wasn't on goal. So, but I'm just talking about getting looks at goal with my feet, get some shots and stuff. So,
and how you feeling? You were limping a little bit when you came in here.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just 2 kids or if that's just getting flipped. No, I'm just kidding. I took a tailbone's pretty sore. Landed pretty hard. It's a big body going down from a pretty good distance. So it'll be all right though.
Well, so since this is not a entirely soccer focused podcast, I want to ask. You now have 2 children. One of them is an absolute monster, and the other one
Yeah.
is like 2 years old.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. One of them is a monster. You are correct, and the other is 2, and just never stops talking.
Right.
So
Wow.
there's a lot of stuff going on at our house. Liam he was 2 on March 17th. It's May, so he's a little over 2 months. But now that he's starting to put sentences together, there's times I'm like, dude, just stop talking. I just want a little bit of silence. He's just
Yeah.
like, Dad,
Lots
go
of
get my
whys.
tractors, set up tractors, play tractors. I'm like, all right, bud, we'll go do it. And
Yeah,
then,
he's in charge.
yeah, exactly. And then Cohen, he's just a big old baby, but he's just kind of a blob.
He's a big kid.
He is a big boy. I think he was bigger. We thought Liam was big and Cohen was a little bigger. They both have like 98th percentile of head circumference, so hopefully,
Yes.
Oh,
hopefully
impressive.
that's full of brains.
Yes.
My wife said that Cohen got my forehead because it's more of like the Cro-Magnon stick out forehead. I was like, that's the first thing you notice. So
She's observant.
yeah, exactly. Now they're both good. It's been spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah, exactly. So this last year, I don't know, how do you feel like that's been a positive, especially as a new dad? Not a lot of people get to have that much time with their newborn kids.
Yeah, it's been a lot of time. So, when we started traveling again for road games, I was like, oh, sorry guys, I got to go. But I'm not, terribly angry about a hotel room and some silence one night. But no, it's been good. I think it's been good, especially with having 2 so close in age to be able to help and be home a lot. And I'm sure Caitlin appreciates it. And it's been good.
What's been the attitude around the team? Do you feel like this last year has been a good experience? Has it been like, how would you describe it?
Like this year right now or last year?
Well, I mean, just collective, like
They all roll together right now. I feel like.
I guess the question is, how has the pandemic changed the way players interact, or has it?
It definitely has. I mean, we're just now getting back to the fist bumps and things like that you just kind of like. I mean, we're still in the pandemic, but everybody's vaccinated on the team and stuff, so that's good. So you can relax a little bit. We're in like our own little bubble, so we're allowed to take our masks off and stuff. So that's good. But I used to pretty much give everybody high fives and stuff and morning and all that. Now it's just more like a fist bump, like you said. But I mean, I think people are slowly getting back to normalcy of interacting, so that's good.
When everyone finally got vaccinated, was there a sense of relief that you could have something like normal locker room interactions? Because I would imagine that's where the biggest difference is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's like relief. I think there was more like skepticism. Like, can we go back to doing this? What was life like before masks and Purell and hand washing and everything? So I think it's been a little slow getting back to that, but it's coming back. It's like riding a bike.
Sure. So one of the things I thought was very interesting, and I've been kind of like very into, is this idea that the Sounders have been able to get everyone in the organization essentially vaccinated, like players, staff, and it was a relatively easy process. But we're seeing that, and it seems like when you say it like that, it's like, well, of course, right? But yet we look around other organizations, and it's not that way. There's not this mass buy-in. And was there anything that you think the Sounders were doing that kind of sold this idea? Like, you also, and I should say, even before, it's not just the vaccinations. It's, you guys had a few players get sick, but almost all of them got sick when they were on international duty.
Yeah.
Or they, they were isolated cases. So you haven't had an outbreak or anything like an outbreak within the team. What is it like? How have the Sounders been messaging it? How do you think they've gotten buy-in? Because it's not like they could be policing what everyone was doing at home.
No, and that's tough. I think we've got a good locker room of guys that understand the risks. Like, people know that if you go do something that is going to put people at risk, you bring it to the locker room, they could bring it home to their families. And it's just something that, we got a good group that understands that. I also want to give Chris Cornish a big shout out because, he had a lot on his plate with dealing with all this quarantine rules and everything, and he did a great job of when there was a case, like getting it under control and getting people isolated and whatever. So he did I'm sure he's really looking forward to getting back to normal, so he doesn't have to worry about protocols so much. But I think it's just the guys understanding that, everything you do, every action you make has, it could have a reaction, that a bad one or a good one. So I think guys erred on the side of caution, and that was good.
So you didn't, I don't want to put any teams on blast or anything like that, but did you get when you would travel, did you get a sense that other teams were taking a different approach than the Sounders were?
Not necessarily. I think we had the mindset like, hey, we can't control what everybody else does, but we can control our bubble. So let's just make sure we take care of ourselves and look out for one another, because it's like our little family. So, we can't control what other teams are doing in their bubble and how their players are interacting and stuff. We just control in our little bubble. And I think that, went a long way with us.
Do you think there were some positive repercussions? Like, do you think, has this effectively brought players, trusting your teammates is a pretty big aspect of a team, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it kind of just, reinforced the trust that, our team has in each other. I think we got a good locker room, like I've said plenty of times so far. And I think me personally, I never really doubted that anybody would, risk anything. So I think that's just the mindset everybody had.
Nice. Well, okay. So moving into this season, you guys are off to a 5-0-1 start.
Yep.
Tied the best start in franchise history, which came all the way back in 2019.
Yeah, did you finally get your stats right?
I finally got my stats right.
Just making sure.
Yeah,
so a day later.
And I got to say, I originally had it right, and then Alex texted me and said, hey, I thought the same thing, but it turns out this was the case. And then he texted me back again and said, actually, I was wrong. We were both right the first time. And you want to guess whose fault it was? Garth's. Garth got on Wikipedia and read it wrong, because Wikipedia is all screwed up because you guys had to cancel a game in 2019 because of the Rapids.
That's right. Because
game.
We play that game, we get 1 point, we host MLS Cup.
Right.
That's just, now you got me bitter. So.
Right. Exactly. So yeah,
so it's Garth's to blame for all the Twitter confusion.
Yeah, Garth is absolutely
no. You take responsibility for your actions that you put on Twitter. You put it out there, so therefore, raise your hand and say my fault.
Okay, my fault. I didn't trust my research.
There we go.
Yeah, Alex knew what he was doing.
Trust your gut.
Offline.
Exactly. Notice Alex didn't tweet at me.
Yeah.
He sent me a text message.
Trust your gut.
Exactly. So you guys are off to a 5-0-1 start, and what's amazing about this start is that it's basically come without Nico has played 30 minutes, but he played 30 minutes in one game.
Yeah.
You lose Steph Fry. You've had you have the replacement essentially for Nico. Josh Atencio ends up only playing 2 games. He's been out injured, and you guys just keep rolling through. From the inside, how has this team felt? Like, did it feel like, when you took the field in the season opener, we were like, this is something special we got going here?
I think the system that we're playing has been great, and I think the way that we've taken it on, the way the coaching staff has shown us and made sure that everybody's understood their responsibilities in each role has been awesome. And I think we have the players that fit this role perfectly. Like, for example, Nuhu is a left-sided center back. I don't think anybody's getting around him ever. This guy is like the best athlete I've ever seen. And, so I think we just have the right personnel for this system. And it's been showing. We haven't let up a goal from the run of play all season. And,
right.
That's really, really impressive. So I think we're scoring goals too. So I think it's been everything's clicking. And the thing we got to be careful of, we can't get too high. We can't be like, oh man, we're off to a great start. We're flying high. We can't be beaten. And then when you start thinking like that, that's when you start falling. And I just think we're taking it game by game, and we know that it's a new formation. There's still things we can improve on. Like the first half of the LAFC game wasn't great. We weren't playing out of pressure that well, but we talked about it at halftime. We made a few adjustments, and the second half was much better. So I think this team being able to adjust on the fly and kind of take each game as it is, and how the game's flowing, and kind of adjust to it is something that's been really good so far.
So the first halves have been, I wouldn't say all across the board underwhelming, but you guys seem to have consistently stepped it up in the second half. Is that something is there actual adjustments that are happening at halftime, or is this, yesterday Brad Smith suggested it might actually be a fitness issue, that you guys are just in better shape than a lot of these teams, and so you wear teams down a little bit, which was particularly funny last night since you guys were on 3 days rest and LAFC was on a full week's rest.
Yeah. I think teams give us their best at the beginning, and it's hard for them to, sustain that for 90 minutes if they're just going to try to defend against us. We're going to break them down over the course of a game, so I think LAFC did a good job in the first half of pressing us high, but it really never turned to much. They had maybe a few chances that we were able to recover on and cut out, but I think we were having like a feel out period in the first half, and then once we get to halftime, we talk about things that are working, things that aren't working, things that we can do better, things we can exploit, and I think we've been actually executing on those points coming out of halftime in the second half of games, and it's been, it's credit to the team for figuring out what we need to do to be successful for that second half and then actually executing.
Yeah, and I would think that playing to zero on the defensive side helps a lot. Like a
little bit, yeah.
Right, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like in the worst case scenario, you guys have been going into halftime tied 0-0.
Yeah.
That would imagine that helps, right?
Oh, you take it for granted, but I can't remember who I was talking to about it, but our back line is so athletic just across the whole back line and so good on the ball, playing out of the back. It's just, it's probably one of the best back lines I've been a part of, and, it's showing right now.
So one of the things that I wanted to go back to, and I've had this kind of memory of this incident, which I think I've been able to zero in on what happened. But back in 2018, you guys used a 3-back formation against Toronto FC on the road.
Yeah.
You won that game 2-1. You scored in that game.
Yeah.
On one of the great goals that people remember because Magnus Wolf Eikram had this amazing move.
That pass from midfield or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that was, I think back then maybe sometimes we would throw out 3/5 at the back on the road and kind of just like you see teams do it and you're like, all right, let's try to hold on for a tie or see if we can get a counterattacking goal. There's been games that I've been part of that where it's been really tough. I one that comes to mind, I don't remember what year it was, but we went to Philadelphia. We played 5 at the back, and it was just like you take a beating for the whole game, and you just try to hold on for dear life. And this system is completely different than those random games where you throw. You say it's going to be a 3 at the back, but it's a 5 at the back when you do it one time on the road, cross-country trip. You try to tell the team, it's an attacking formation, but you're just taking it for 90 minutes. But this formation, this is a very attacking formation that we're in, and it also has the support of a back 5. But the reason why this is so good for us is because we don't play as a back 5. It's purely a back 3, and the wing backs are just cruising up and down the wings. We're best when they stay high and wide, and the wing backs all have more goals than me.
Brad Smith, all of a sudden,
I know.
I think he had 1 goal in his entire professional career before this year. Now he's scoring goals for fun.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even think I've seen him score 3 goals in training.
I used to so early there was a preseason game actually against San Diego, I want to say, and I was making a comment about how I've never seen a player who looks better in possession and worse when it's time to shoot than Brad Smith. Yeah. And basically ever since that moment, he's done nothing but look really dangerous.
Honestly, just the last few weeks, I think he's improved. He's looked so much more comfortable in front of goal. Yeah. He's been a left back his whole career. What do you expect him to be in front of goal and start scoring immediately? It's going to take time. It's going to take repetitions and practice, and he's already taken that on so quickly. Like, he's getting headers. I made that near post run last night, and I was thinking, Alex missed me. Oh, God, Brad better be right there. And he's right there, and he scores. You know what I mean? So it's just like these are things where he's getting, the more comfortable he gets, the more confidence goes, the more he's going to get in spots to score.
That was about as smooth of a finish. Like,
I know, and he just kept it running to the corner. I was like, all right. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. So I'm curious, though, about the kind of the tactical journey that Brian and the rest of the coaching staff has really taken, because you I think one of your frustrations back in 2018 was you played this 3 at the back formation, but it sounded like you guys didn't really train in it, and you just kind of threw it out there as a way to get a result, and somehow they took all the wrong lessons from that result, and they didn't there was nothing tactical that came from it other than like, we put 5 at the back, we can get a win.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, it's much more of a system. There's a system.
Yeah,
it seems like,
for sure.
Even when you play, whether it be a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1 or whatever it might be, there's this same mentality that you come into. There's a way of playing that's not about the formation. It's about like
the
systems.
system. Yeah, it's exactly, because we had a whole preseason to work on this year. I think when you do it like maybe we did it in the past, where you're like, all right, this weekend we're going to play this way, we got a week to work on it, you can't really learn a system. You can't learn a system at all in a week,
No, right.
So I think it was awesome that they decided we're doing this from the beginning of preseason, and we're committing to it. And I give Schmetz a bunch of credit for doing that, because it's hard to do. It's a formation that's worked for his whole career. The team's been great in it, and to be like, well, now I think we can be even better in this formation based on the personnel we have. So credit to him for doing it and sticking to it. And I'm sure, we haven't gone through any growing pains yet, but I'm sure we will in the future. And, it's been great.
So your role in this formation, I think, has been really interesting. You have, I'm sure you like being on the field first and foremost.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite.
Right. Being on the field is your primary objective. Yep. But the role that you've played up until last night, where last night you seemed like you were a little bit higher up the field, but up until then, you'd been almost playing as a midfielder. You'd been kind of like a facilitator. You didn't, doing a lot of hold-up play, but mostly in passing lane and having runners come off of you and whatnot. What's been your mindset going into the season, and how have you, has it been tough to not be in positions to put a lot of shots on goal?
I really do feel like I've been more of like a withdrawn forward this year, because Raul is a pure number 9. He stays high in the box is where he comes alive, and he's a goal scorer. So sometimes I like to stay there too, but we can't both occupy the same spot. So I'm comfortable dropping in and getting on the ball and just trying to get involved in the game. And I feel better when I do that, but then at the same time I'm further away from goal and I'm not getting in the spots to finish plays off, but I'm still helping facilitate the attacking pattern. So, that's been an adjustment for me. And then last night I got my first few shots off, because I told you that was going to be I was talking to Christian the day before the game. I was like, no matter what happens, I'm shooting. I'm taking some shots. Enough of this. I'm getting in the attacking third and just having a go. So hopefully that's the first domino that starts getting the goals coming. So, I enjoy it. I enjoy playing, being a facilitator. Facilitator?
I think that's right.
Facilitator? Yeah, it just sounded weird. But
because you're not used to
I know.
talking about yourself that way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is what's going on here?
Right.
No, but it's been good. I enjoy it.
So I thought the funniest moment to me, at least, that looked the most that way was you were on a little bit of a breakaway. You were on the right wing. You had Raul kind of at the top of the penalty box. You wouldn't let it rip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, this was the first half one. Yeah,
exactly.
So the way I looked at this one was, I think it was Christian that played it into the channel.
Yes.
And I think it was right. Murillo that was coming at me from an angle. So I'm thinking if I take a touch here or something, he's going to just come in hard, and I'm going to have to try to either cut him or he's going to get a corner out of it. So I was like, why don't I just try to hit it hard far post?
Sure.
I hit it hard, but not far post. It just went directly over. And sometimes, when you're on the box, you got to be greedy. I don't think I'm greedy enough sometimes. And
absolutely.
That's something I got to start doing.
I was actually, a part of me was very, I was like, good to see
good
Will.
For you. Yeah, good for you.
Take that rip.
You deserve that shot.
Exactly. You've done a lot of the dirty work.
Yeah.
You deserve to make that run. And there was a couple other ones where I saw you making a run, and I want to say it was Brad maybe that was coming up the left wing, and he shot it instead of dishing it off. And I'm thinking, if I'm Will and I make a 90-yard run, I want at least the attempt to play me the ball.
Yeah, but I'm not somebody, if they're taking a shot, go for it. I'm never somebody that's going to scream at you unless I have a tap in. But, Brad's got more goals than me. I can't say much to him right now,
It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
And it is funny, the more how it, success begets success.
Yeah.
Where it's how awkward he looked in front of goal, and now how comfortable he looks.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I would kind of say this about me too. I think previously, before this year, when I would drop into the pockets, I would kind of feel rushed on the ball and try to get it off my foot quick. I feel like now I have more patience on the ball. I look up more. I'm just a little more relaxed on it, as opposed to trying to get it off my foot and get in the box, which, it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, seems to be a lot of good things going on with the Sounders right now.
Yeah, we got to keep them going.
Absolutely got to keep them going. You guys have 2 more games until the Gold Cup break, essentially.
Yep.
What's the attitude going into these 2 games?
Let's get into the break undefeated still. Let's get 6 more points out of these 2 games, and then, have those 2 weeks off, regroup, kind of refresh, refocus, because, you wouldn't think so. You think when you're playing well, you're winning, easy, but you have to keep, playing better every game because every team's coming out for you. The more you win, the more teams want to beat you. They want to be the first team to take points off you. They want to be the first team to give you your first loss. So it gets harder and harder. So I think these 2 games, Atlanta on Sunday is going to be very hard, and then Austin, I think they've looked really good as an expansion team this year so far. So they're going to be 2 tough games, and then I think we get 6 points out of those 2 games, go into the break and regroup and refresh, like I said.
Has there been a lot of, because at least to me, you look at these first 6 as kind of a collective group, in part because it's all Western Conference teams. They were kind of close together.
Yeah.
And then these last 2 games seem to be almost like a separate challenge.
Yeah. No,
Is that kind of how it's been internally too?
I mean, I don't think people thought about that much, but I definitely see what you're saying there, because you're like, oh, now you're playing a Eastern Conference team, so it's not a 6-point game, but at the end of the day, it's every game for us is 3 points, so we want to maximize our points on the year. So I see the point of like, oh, we got rivalry games and Western Conference opponents and stuff, but every game's opportunity for 3 points.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's probably a good place to take a break. We're going to come back. We have some advice. We're going to do some Ask
there we go.
Advice
Get
bits.
back into it.
I might be a little wiser after these 15, 16 months off.
Bad advice.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Exactly. But we'll come back. You're listening to Bear With Us.
Cool.
Welcome back to Bear With Us, the Will Bruin podcast. We're here at Masonry, and we're drinking some Fast Fashion beer. I don't know, Fast Fashion Brewing. It's probably Fast Fashion, probably not brew. They don't go away with that.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
And we're having some good food, really good food. What am I talking about? Decent. It's great food.
Some nice meatballs.
Some spicy meatballs. Yeah. So, Will, we have a game that Emily came up with, and I think it's a very clever game. I don't know where she came up with this idea, but it's great.
Who knows how I think of it?
Yeah. The game is called 1921 or 2021. And basically what you want to do is we found a bunch of pieces of advice, like people writing into advice columns.
Okay.
And we want you to guess whether or not this prompt came from 1921 or 2021. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then we're going to ask you for your advice, obviously.
Okay, sure.
All right. So, Emily, do you want me to read these or do you want to read them?
Yeah, it's all you.
Okay. So, my sister sells for a multi-level marketing company for a few years now and is inviting us to events again. I don't want to attend for many reasons, including that I think these companies take advantage of people. How do I get out of it? And should I share my opinion about this path or should I keep it to myself?
So, the first part I picked up on was they're inviting us to events again.
Yeah.
So that makes me think that's a question from now, coming out of a pandemic.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
Your thinking is
step
correct.
one.
Scoring points already here.
And then after that, I kind of stopped listening. So what was the rest of the question?
What's the right way to, should you go? Should you not go?
And she doesn't want to go?
She doesn't want to go. Does she say something about why she doesn't want to go? Or does she just keep it to herself and say, come up with an excuse? What's the way to handle this? Do you have MLM marketers in the centers?
I would say I would come up with an excuse. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to go, I think I'm too nice to be like, I just don't want to go.
Right. Is Herbalife coming to you guys? No.
Everything goes through, Caulfield and Winter. They take care of it all.
Good.
And Kelly. So it's all good. I tell them, honestly, I'm like, I don't want to go. And then they take care of it.
Okay.
So I'm sure if you wanted a real good answer, you'd have to ask them.
So, okay, I'm curious. So when Alex or Matt or whoever else comes to you with a promo pitch that you're just not into,
do
you just straight up tell them I'm not doing that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable enough around them where I just tell them like, I don't want to do that one, or, I mean, it's not like I have all these people coming after me saying, hey, we want all these. So usually
We need the Will Bruin.
Yeah, exactly. So usually I'm like,
demo.
sure, I'll do it. But if there's something I don't want to do, or just like I'm tired from, a long night with the kids or something, I just tell them truthfully, like, look, hey, not today. And they understand.
Okay, so what's the most absurd ask that they've ever
Oh
brought
my
to you?
gosh.
Is there one that stood out?
No, nothing comes to my mind
Doing
right now.
a podcast with Jeremiah.
Honestly, that's probably the most absurd one. They're making me do this
Yeah.
as much as I do
Yeah.
not want to do it.
I remember I twisted your arm a lot.
Yeah.
I remember going to Alex and Matt and saying, you need to get me Will.
Yes, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
Or
I
else.
definitely don't remember you coming to me
I was
and
like-
saying we should do a podcast.
I was like, why won't this guy leave me alone?
right.
Memories are hazy at this point.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know. Pandemic mushed my brain.
Yeah.
Exactly how
Yeah.
I remember it. All right. So I'm 10 years old, and my dad said that when I saved enough money, I could buy anything I wanted with it. All my life, I have wanted a monkey. I have saved $14. My dad said no because I wouldn't know how to take care of it. Do you know anyone who has a pet monkey? And can you give me some advice? First of all, what year do you think this is from?
This sounds like no, that's a tough one actually.
It's a tough one. I agree.
My gut was going to tell me 1921. Is that the year we're doing? 21.
Yeah.
But then I think about coming out of a pandemic, and I think about how crazy people are right now. I'm like, that could easily be this year. So my final answer is going to be. Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go 2021.
Okay. It is actually from the 1920s.
No, I knew it. Like I told you
Did you
earlier,
change-
listen to your gut.
I know. Did you change the the amount of money that?
No, that is what. That
$14 in
See?
1921 was a lot of money.
That's what I was just thinking. I was also thinking too, like me growing up, I would get paid for doing chores around the house and stuff. And I don't know if it's still like that these days. Like I'm so old,
I think
but
the kids still do chores.
so I was going to say, yeah, that was my reason why my gut was like, oh, look at that pizza. That looks delicious.
Yeah, I'm not gonna judge anyone for eating on air.
No.
By the way.
No.
All right. So do you have any advice for this? If the girl wants a monkey, or the child wants a monkey?
The lesson is, their dad told them they could get whatever they want with their allowance. That's what they want. That's what they want. But as a parent, I would try to backtrack very quick.
Off a monkey.
Yes.
You don't want a monkey running around the house. Is that
I
what
would
you're
say,
trying
you
to
know
tell
what?
me?
When you get your own house and you get your own place to live, then you can get your monkey.
Absolutely.
Good advice.
And that's good advice.
Yeah.
All right. So how do I hang out with friends again without being weird? I've forgotten how.
I know. I think everybody has. It's a tough one.
I feel like this is a little obvious, but maybe not. I don't
Yeah.
know. 1920s. I take it back. 1920s. There was the
yeah.
Spanish flu.
I did forget. I honestly was just thinking that was a question right now. So
I did
that's,
too. I did
that's
too.
2021.
Me
I forgot about the game there. I was
Yes,
like, this is just a
exactly.
normal question.
It's too real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Too
should have.
real.
I guess I should. We should have set this up in 1921. They were coming out of the Spanish
Uh-huh.
flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think?
This year. 2021 is my guess.
Is 2020?
Yeah. You're trying to throw me off with the whole Spanish flu thing.
Yeah, I know.
Good try. But I think everybody feels it. So I don't think it's just
Okay, so
the one question.
this is like a monumental thing that we're doing right here. We're all in the same place. We're all vaccinated.
Yes.
I think this is a very safe endeavor.
Yes.
I don't want anyone to be worried about us.
No.
That said, have you had what's your social like? Has your social life? Have you started to like go outside your bubble? Have you?
I mean-
have you had friends over for dinner? I've not been invited.
No, actually, yeah, I've had all my friends over for dinner. No, had not had any friends over. Also, I'm probably a little different with the two little kids. It makes us, in general, it's just a
Yeah.
little different lifestyle. So I guess if there was time to have two little kids, it would be during a pandemic because you're at home regardless.
So, okay, not to get too far off topic, but I actually had this thought. Like, in April or so, I remember thinking, why would anyone have a kid right now? Like, this, what a nightmare to have a kid right now. And then, like,
But you're home regardless.
right. And then, like, a month later, I was like, what a perfect time to have kids.
A
Like,
month later, you're like, we're having 5
Right,
kids.
we're gonna get yeah, exactly. Can we get this going?
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like, it was all of a sudden it went from being a nightmare time to have little, especially newborns.
Yeah.
Because like having a 5 and a 8-year-old, not just to randomly pick two ages,
Yeah.
is a nightmare at home all the time. because they want to go. All they want to do is go and play with friends.
Yes.
But like having like 1 to 2, like 0 to 2,
Yeah.
all they want to do is hang out with parents anyway.
Oh yeah. We started asking Liam, our oldest, this morning. We were like,
Has he had a play date yet?
well, we go to the park now, and he like loves going to the park and going on the slide. But we're like, do you want to go to
In his
school?
Audi or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. No, it's all about tractors these days.
Right. Okay. Oh,
So come on. And then so we're like, do you want to go to school one day a week in the fall? And his response was, no, stay home with mama, dada, Sissy, which is our dog, and we call Cohen Coco Man.
Oh
And he goes, and Coco Man, and play tractors. We're like, no, you're going to school for a
Right.
day.
Exactly. That was a trick question.
Yeah.
You actually didn't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You failed. I'm sorry.
Yep. Now you're going to school 2 days a week.
Right. Exactly. So is it going to be? Are you guys going to do like a co-op kind of thing, or what's the plan?
I don't know. We just
Do you know what a co-op is?
No.
Okay, co-op would be like probably Caitlin would be actually one of the teachers. Like,
Oh,
they
yeah, I
have
don't think
these-
we're gonna do that,
These
yeah.
like cooperative kind of things where parents essentially.
No, she brought that up, and I don't think she was too thrilled about something like that. So.
I honestly like no judgment on anyone who does a co-op.
No.
But I conceptually just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to send my kid to school, the whole point is to get
For
out
them
of,
to go to
like,
school, yeah.
getting out
Yeah.
of like caring for them.
Exactly.
For
Like
that time.
have somebody watch them for.
Right. I don't
However
wanna-
long
this
they
is
go.
This is a trap. This
Yeah.
is speaking
I
of
don't-
MLM.
I don't want to be teaching 8 kids for
No,
when they should be gone.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right. This is the last one we got out of this fun game, which is great actually. Good job, Emily. This is a great game.
Why does he sound surprised?
That's what I do.
I know. Every time I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work. It does. I have
Ye
a
of
very.
little faith
the-
over here.
The
You're
truth always comes out. Huh?
co-producer of
Yep.
fun things.
I
Yeah.
know. Okay, so I have a very dear friend who lives in a distant city who recently wrote to say she would love to visit. I saw her briefly several months ago, but she had a 5-year-old child with her who was a holy terror. If I tell her that she is welcome to leave her kid at home, I'm afraid it would end our friendship. But I cannot see myself putting up with that child. What would be the best way to handle this? So, again, first of all, 1920s are
1920s is my guess. They got the
Getting-
letter in the mail, said I
Yeah.
wrote to her. My dearest, I wrote you.
right, exactly. So what do you do if you want
That's a
to
tough
hang
one.
out with your friend? Like, do you
Yeah.
have friends now that have like kids that you're just like, I don't like your child.
No, not there yet. I think the whole thing with the whole pandemic and everything is kind of, we haven't gotten there yet. I feel like if there
Sure.
wouldn't have been pandemic, we would have been hanging out with more people and stuff and been like, oh, that kid is not very nice, or that kid's awesome. You know what I mean? But I'm sure we'll get there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not. I luckily did not have a whole like I was one of the first people in my friend group
Yeah.
to have kids, and
Uh-huh.
so I never had the experience of like hanging out with someone else's kid and being like, dude, your kid sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so now it's more about like how convenient you also have a child and we can like have our kids keep out of our hair,
Yeah. No, that's
which is the best thing about other. And I luckily don't have any friends who I can't stand their kids yet, but I could definitely see how that would be a problem.
I could definitely see how that'd be a big problem too. But I cannot speak on it from experience yet.
All right, so who are the dad? Who are like the dad awards in the Sounders? Who are like the guys that you think they know what they're doing? Who are you asking for advice?
Oh, honest, first one comes to mind is probably Nico.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like have a pretty
Yeah, I feel like he's I feel like he's a good dad. Kids are always around, so
Yeah, serious family man.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Brad, he's younger than me, but he's got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so he's kind of on the same trajectory, but about a half a year ahead of me. So ask him what to expect in future weeks and stuff. But those two come to mind first.
okay. That's a solid. Yeah, I would say those are solid. Does anyone have older? All the people that had older
See, I
kids
don't-
are out of the team.
Yeah,
now,
I don't
right?
think so. Yeah, I think
Because
it's
like
all...
Roman had older kids.
Yep.
Raul- Gustav-
has seems like he has 2 kids that are like 6 and
Yeah,
8 or something.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, Raul seems like he actually strikes me as almost like a super dad. Like he just
Like,
comes
he's
in
like
and
the
is
fun dad.
fun.
Yeah.
It's time to have fun, kids.
Dad is home.
Right, exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. Well, that was good. You did good on that one.
Yeah.
All
Why do
right.
you sound surprised?
You constantly surprise me, Will.
I surprise myself sometimes.
We did get a couple other questions from readers, listeners, I guess. That's what we're calling them now. So this one's from Bill Jones, trumpet. I think he's a member of the Soundwave.
Okay, cool. It's good to see them back.
I know they were back this
I know.
game, right?
I noticed it. Yeah.
That was awesome. So
I look up and I saw somebody dancing on the screen. I was like, oh, they're back. Nice.
Okay, that brings me up a good aside. So when Reed came in, did you happen to see the picture?
Oh, I saw the picture. The picture was from the 90s, huh?
Yeah. Like there was like he's 16 and they used a picture from like when he was 8.
They used
They used a
10-year-old picture to say, look, we're playing very young kids.
Right. In case it wasn't obvious, we're playing children.
Let's just use the real, headshot and go on. Move
Did
on.
anyone give him shit about that?
No.
Oh.
I don't think a lot. I think I was one of the only people that really noticed it on the team because I was subbed off at that point, and I just happened to look up.
That's not the child.
I looked up and I double checked. I was like, who is that?
We're playing children.
Yeah.
His mom sent in a school photo.
Right, exactly.
Honestly, at that point, I was like, all right, I'm getting kind of old here.
Right, exactly.
Oh, no.
That picture could literally be my child.
Exactly.
All right. So as a parent who travels a lot to play music in non-COVID times, I get great support from my wife and kid. But what steps can I take to make sure I keep their support and not take too much advantage of them? So how do you? That's a great. You are in a great position to answer this.
Yeah, that's
when your kids are traveling to watch you play. How much of it is they should be supporting me, and how much of it is it's fun to go watch a soccer game?
No, I think because when we always tell Liam, because Cohen doesn't understand yet, but we tell Liam, you want to go watch Dad play soccer tonight? And he's like, yeah, he loves it. And then Caitlin tells me about it. He watches for the first few minutes, and then he just loves to run around the suite. Game's over with, who cares, whatever. And he's like, he brings his tractors into the suite, and he plays in there. So he cares more about going in there and playing. I can't remember exactly what she told me, but when I got undercut, he said something like, Dad, get up, or something like that.
Wow.
And Caitlin probably made it seem like it was more like, get up, you're fine. When he was probably like, get up, Dad.
Right.
But,
don't be dead.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I'm sure it's more just the experience for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's
cool for them to see you once or twice, and then they're probably like, all right, let's move on to the real fun playing.
Yeah.
The popcorn.
Yeah.
Do you I would imagine you got to be hoping that they have a memory of you as a player, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's been way, I guess, cooler and more for me to be like, oh, now because Liam understands, they can know everything, and I can look up and wave to him and stuff. That's pretty cool for me, as opposed to when it was no kids or anything. So
yeah, it does give you a weird focus.
It gives
right?
it gives you
it gives a purpose.
Yeah, it gives you a cool sense of pride, and you're not just playing for you and your career. Yeah. There's you're playing for your family and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah. So all right. So this is one that is from Lickett. Lickett wasn't able to make it here today, but
come on, Lickett.
He wants to know, how's your butt feeling?
It's sore.
Is it?
Landed on it pretty hard,
Yeah.
Say more tailbone area.
Yeah, that did not look comfortable.
Nah, it wasn't fun. Last time I did that, I dislocated my elbow, so I was like...
so it was better than that?
So I was like, just don't land on my arms. I kind of just threw my arms up, was like, just take it on the back. So...
Of course, that was also when the legend of Will Bruin was maybe born.
Yeah.
The bionic arm.
Yeah, that's true.
The bionic arm.
That's true, yeah.
Time.
Maybe I'll have a bionic corset.
Bionic butt.
Bionic butt. There we go. Just
Well, that's what we got. That's what we got for you, Will. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Been good, and we have some pizza waiting for us. We have some meatballs waiting for us.
Yep.
Big time.
Yeah, and I gotta get home to some crying babies probably eventually.
Probably. Yeah. It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. I would like to think that we won't wait this long again. The last time I talked to you, you're like, this is going to be the farewell show. I'm not going to let that happen, Will. Sorry.
And he likes to say it was me that came to him. Like, we must get this going.
Right?
Nah, I won't be.
Okay.
Whew. I know. You didn't know what you were going to do with yourself.
Okay, I have a suggestion for you, Will, before we close out this thing. So one of the things we've been seeing in the NBA lately, a lot of NBA players wearing WNBA jerseys as a way to promoting it. How do we get MLS players wearing NWSL jerseys, especially with like Rose Lavelle is going to be coming to the Reign. This is going to be like a star-studded team. What do we do? How do we get this? How do we make this happen?
Have front office give us some jerseys and we'll wear them. No problem. Easy money.
There we go.
Easy money.
OL Reign, you hear that? Get the Sounders some jerseys, get them outfitted, and we will make this happen.
We're good to go.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's easy. That's probably better style than I have regardless. It would actually improve my style game.
Yeah. I mean, that's a low bar, but I agree.
I mean, I'm looking at you. I'm like, you could use one too.
Yeah, I could. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
Get the influencers there.
I know. I know. I've been getting a lot of influencer packages lately. I'm big time.
Yeah.
How much do you love that Jimi Hendrix jersey, thoe?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's really good.
It's good.
Oh, to go off topic again before we get off.
No. It's your show.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Somebody tweeted at me, was like, hey, he had his Jimi Hendrix jersey on. He's like, hey, I just saw your dad at the Charlotte airport. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just going to let this one go. It's nobody. Like, my dad's not in Charlotte. And then I talked to my dad yesterday. He's like, I'm in Charlotte at your cousin's wedding. It's like, my dad really was in Charlotte. So shout out to that guy
How did this guy
for saying hi.
Know
so apparently my dad went up to him and was like, go Sounders, because he had his Jimi Hendrix jersey on.
Oh,
yeah.
cute.
So, because I was thinking,
go Sounders, my son is ruined.
That's something my dad would do.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah. My dad would be like, oh, my son's a Sounder. And the guy's probably like, yeah, I'm sure.
Right. Movies plays for the Academy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was Reed's picture.
Right, exactly.
Shows a picture in his wall. It's all wrinkled.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Will, this has been wonderful catching up. And I appreciate you doing this as always.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Emily, thank you for once again providing the fun.
Yep.
Always.
And Masonry for providing the pies. And
we got some pizzas and meatballs to dig into.
So, thanks for listening.
Cool.
This is Bear With Us. And we think there's going to be a next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cool.
We'll see.
Bye.
Bye.
Once again, can this be the start of something?
Will Bruin